Hello, my name is Alita Gonzalez Garcia, and this is my presentation over equity reflection and self-analysis for this module. So, a brief introduction, my name is Alita Gonzalez Garcia. I am currently living in Liberty Hill, Texas, which is about an hour away from Austin, Texas. But for ASU, I am currently an online student, and happens to be my second year. I have been taking summer courses, so it's been a little wild ride for me, but I definitely enjoy the opportunity because I am going through the Starbucks Achievement Plan that was provided for me to continue on with my education, which is a great opportunity that I happen to come across on. So, career goals and equity literacy and how they connect. For starters, my career plan when it comes to, especially going through ASU, is to complete my bachelor's degree in educational studies. And my plan afterwards is to relocate to College Station, which happens to be a very big college area that is about 2 hours away from my location. And there I want to become a secondary education English teacher, which means I want to teach between the grades of middle school through high school. It's a variety I still have to look into, but it's something that I'm very passionate about. For the most part, what does equity literacy mean when it comes to the career path that I'm planning to go through? So, equity literacy, like many of us know, it requires having a unique perspective in the class. We will be obtaining many students that have different backgrounds, different customs, and because of that, we must be able to push our students to succeed no matter the disadvantages or advantages that they do happen to have. And through that, we must be able to provide support in order to understand where they're coming from, understand their background, and understand who they want to become once they finish through their educational path. Race, ethnicity, geography, and national origin. So my ethnicity group actually is Latino. My parents came from Mexico. They came from a small town in Dolores Hidalgo. And they have been in this country for the past 30 years. So for them, it was a huge, major change. They were in their 20s, starting off fresh, but they wanted a better life for themselves as well as the family that they want to grow with. We have lived in Texas for the most part. They traveled from Houston to Austin to where we now live in Liberty Hill. And the change between going from Austin and Liberty Hill was extremely big, especially when it came to my education, because of the change from going through a multicultural school in Austin to going to Liberty Hill, where it is primarily white, only English speaking, and has a very different perspective. It became a little bit difficult when it came to my education. There was a huge language barrier. I had to learn English within the age of 6 all the way until 10. There were different customs, there was different viewpoints, especially when it came to politics or morality or anything. And I even had to go through having to deal with difficulty from my own peers to adults when it comes to understanding just like the lack of support that I have throughout that. It was very difficult. It definitely pushed me back when it came to my education. I was put in other classes in order to keep up, but within time I was able to push myself, and plus with the support of my family, it was something that I was able to overcome with. So being able to talk about that, especially when it comes to this course, it's something I'm going to look forward to because I definitely want to dive deeper into that. Now for religion and spirituality, my religion happens to be Catholic. I've never personally have felt any kind of criticism or any harassment or anything when it came to my religion. The only thing that when it comes to how I connect through being a Catholic, it is a little bit more difficult from my perspective, mainly because I happen to have different values and viewpoints. So at this moment, I am not religious at all. I do have a belief system, but for the most part, I tend to steer away from religion at the moment. But when it comes to religion versus equity, especially when it comes to education, there are many things that we have seen, whether it comes through news coverage, on social media. There are things such as harassment due to religion. I think more precisely, the more that I've seen when it comes to people who are Muslim. When, for example, students who wear hijabs being criticized over it. And it is something that we have to be able to provide more information in our school environment in order to make it more exclusive. Because of this, religion is tied to also culture. So there is also like a little combination when it comes to that. And it is something that we have to focus on in order to both be able to assist our students who have different backgrounds and customs, as well as educating those who just don't acknowledge the differences when it comes to that. Gender and sexuality. So gender and sexuality, it is a huge topic that we have seen, especially throughout the past few years. For starters, my gender and sexuality is pansexual, and I am a woman. I identify as a she, her. And when it comes to discussing gender and sexuality versus my Latino culture, it's a very harsh environment. From the moment I was able to understand gender roles, it was put on to me just the mindset that girls will be the carers, they'll be the ones cooking and cleaning, while men are supposed to go out and do the hard work, be tough. And there is a huge existence of machismo when it comes to the Latino culture that I have seen in both my own personal life as well as seeing it from like different people like my friends and my family. It is something that is a very hard topic to talk about because it is still a mindset that is till this day. And because of our older generation, it is also something that they try to push onto our future generations, which is something I want to focus on when it comes to this course, talking about culture diversity. But when it means for gender and sexuality versus equity, there are many things that we can talk about when it comes to school environments, especially like debates over pronouns, which is something really big that we see, especially since we're starting off like fresh when it comes to like younger children, just so they have a better understanding of the world they are coming into. We also have to be able to be acceptance of others. The reason I wanted to include this because I remember being in school and within my senior year they decided to do an LGBT plus club that was not very accepted in my school, mainly because I happen to have a very conservative school environment. So it was something that it was a very impactful movement, since it was a whole debate whether they should allow a club, to express their freedom of speech, but also people who were debating against it. So it was a hot topic during that time. And because of this, we also have to acknowledge the harassment over sexuality or even gender identity, because, like I said, it is a very huge topic at the moment, and it's just something that we have to focus on as future educators. Class and social economics. I come from a lower middle class. This means that when it came to my own education, or at least my school environment, or my social ruling in school, there was many things that I was not able to do. I wasn't able to join sports or certain clubs because of the money that was involved in it. I was really held back when it came to that, which never was an issue for me. I was able to rely on my interests in a different direction, where I was able to not only be able to learn more about what I want to do whenever I finish school, but also I was able to learn more about my character through that. So it never was a huge issue on me, but I have seen it through different school environments, especially when it comes to equity. There is huge political debates over it, mainly from like different districts on how they want to use a certain amount of money, whether it means to help students, especially those who live in poverty, or if they wanted to change over on any other perspective of the school, like sports or anything. The social comes for, like I mentioned, the social rule for children in poverty. There are a few regulations that they have when it comes to how to give a helping hand for students who need any assistance, whether it means they get scholarships for books, they can get a free lunch that is provided from the district, and so forth. One I wanted to include, though, is how attire plays out in many schools, like having a certain uniform in order to to minimize discrimination on children who live in poverty, and just be able to prevent that kind of harassment that can exist among students, which is still a very talked about topic. And I feel like through this course we will be able to talk about it a little bit more. So, key takeaways that I have for this class. So, what I have learned is that equity literacy is a process through which we ensure that policies, practices, institutional cultures, and ideologies are actively equitable in order to provide children the support they need as well as their family to obtain a better form of education, a better social environment, etc. And seeing throughout what we will be talking about, such as racism, sexism, homophobia, anything like that. This is a course that I am super excited about, and I can't wait to learn a little bit more about it as we go through. But I really do appreciate y'all going through my presentation. Here are the few references I have. These references mainly rely on where I was able to obtain the pictures I included in the presentation, as well as any ideas or anything that I researched when it comes to the different topics that were provided for us. But I hope y'all enjoyed my presentation. I am looking forward to going through this course over cultural diversity, talking about equity, literacy, and so much more. I am very excited to continue on.